Justin, you want to start us off with a prayer?
Yeah, be glad to. Y'all bow with me. Most gracious and heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day that you've given us, Lord. Lord, we ask that you be with everyone that's been affected by the coronavirus, Lord. Lord, we ask that you remind us that even in these uncertain times, that you still sit on the throne, Lord, and let us put all our faith in you, lead, guide, and direct us in all that we do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll go ahead and call Marshall County Special Call Meeting, Fiscal Court Meeting, April 9th, 2020 to order. The first item is going to be the 911 grant. I've asked Chris to speak a little bit more on that. So he's here. And Chris, if you can just update us on the KOH grant.
Basically, grant windows are very narrow. They extended it because of the virus. I didn't have what I needed.
Hang on a second. Jason's asking a question. Are you asking, are we live? Yeah, we've got Facebook Live.
Okay.
And then we've got you guys live on Facebook up on the screen.
And I'll put this in front of Chris so when he's talking to you,
Okay. Is
good?
that better?
Do you want me to unmute? If I unmute, you hear anybody in here talking, it's like an echo, but you can hear them really well.
Okay.
The guys on the,
You can hear Chris, guys?
Can you hear me? Okay. Just basically, real quick, we got an opportunity to get some repeaters to fix the county fire channel. We've got a couple of days left to apply for this grant, and I've got everything I need to do it. So it will increase the distance and the communications ability in the south end of the community where the fire department struggles. So basically doing the same thing we did with the sheriff's office equipment.
And can you explain to them that this is the KOHS? I mean, every year these dollars
It's
are
Kentucky
available.
Homeland Security grants for radios, and sometimes these projects, getting information and things like that, they miss the time window because you have to get quotes, you have to do other things, you have to get site studies done. Several things have to happen, and with the slowdown due to the virus and stuff, I didn't think we were going to make it. They extended it till the 10th. I finally got everything in this week, so I'm ready to sit all day today and write this grant and push this out. I just need permission to do it, but it's for 3 repeaters that are going to be utilized on county fire. Those guys have been operating on equipment that doesn't work, old and out of date. It just needs to be fixed, and this is an opportunity to do it for very little money.
And what's the amount?
It's the amount we're asking for is $88,294.80.
And if y'all remember the $180,000 grant that we did last year, we should be getting that reimbursement here pretty soon. So using those reimbursement dollars, as we discussed previously, to put back into grants, those are the dollars that would be used for this grant. Is there any questions on the grant? He asked, is it a matching grant? It's a reimbursement grant.
Yeah. It's a reimbursement grant, but the match determines how competitive you are. 5 to 10% match.
It depends on how competitive we are as far as a 5 to 10% match.
And it's 88,294. I was having a little trouble hearing Chris. There was a lot of echo or something. Do you mind explaining again what that's going for exactly and where at, please?
It's going for actually repeaters to put in the county, fixing it very similar to the way we're going to fix the sheriff's department. Can you hear me?
It's going for the repeaters for the communication for the fire channels.
County owns the license, we need to fix that infrastructure for those fire departments. They own their individuals, we need to fix that as the county for them.
And it's the county owns the channel, or the frequency. The south end of our county, obviously has, radio communication issues, and this is just gonna help, those agencies mainly on the south end of the county. But it's for 4 repeaters, and this is something that, when you talk to several of the fire chiefs, they've been waiting for this for some time, many years. So this is the infrastructure for communications. I hope that helps understand what you were asking, Kevin.
Okay.
So basically, what Chris needs for the KOH grants, and these dollars are available every year, is the court's approval to submit the grant, and if awarded, then we would move forward with the cost that he laid out.
When's the deadline, Chris?
What?
When's the deadline?
Tomorrow afternoon at 4:30.
Tomorrow. I move that.
Eddie, do you feel this will take care of the issues you're having personally with Sheriff's Department?
Now, the sheriff's department, if you remember, we discussed that, I think, several months
That
ago.
was in December, we moved those monies and purchased those. There was no
Yeah.
grant window open at that time.
Yeah. I think it was back in December, monies were moved. We discussed actually purchasing those repeaters for the sheriff's department.
And we actually did.
Yeah, and we have those repeaters, so I guess the answer to your question is no, this is specifically for the fire. The sheriff's department equipment's already come in, and that's in the process of those repeaters are in the process of being put up.
So this is specifically for the fire departments?
Yes.
Yes, fire departments and one repeater to kind of boost EMS's
And-
signal.
Yes, and one repeater is the Boost EMS.
So it would fix our 3 main channels in the county.
And it would fix our 3 main channels in the county. I think there was a motion, Justin made a motion to approve, give permission to submit the grant. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? No nays. The ayes have it. Motion carries. That deadline is tomorrow, so he's going to submit that
I hope to
by
have it done
tomorrow's.
this afternoon, so
by
I'm working on it
tomorrow's
right now, as I
deadline.
sit here.
Yeah.
Item 2, policy management system. This is a good, I think, with the recent discussions as far as policies, and I think council had sent a statute to us saying that the fiscal court is to set policies, and my office is directed by that statute to carry out the policies. In discussion with the 911 director, they're going for accreditation. And I think the sheriff is going for accreditation. And when you go for these types of things, policies are a mandate. So this software allows both those agencies, if they want, if the sheriff wants to use it, but the fiscal court as well. If you could see it on our end, when we have, say, a draft document, and we send it out for review, keeping up with those draft documents as far as the original draft, first draft, second draft, third draft, it can kind of get confusing. This software has actually, and I'm not doing it any justice, I'll have Chris explain a little bit more in detail, but this software allows agencies like us to, when we put policies in place, you can actually, all of us can, say for the fiscal court, If we put a policy in place, let's just say it's a Facebook policy. We don't have a Facebook policy. Most communities, most government agencies do. If we are to create a policy, we can run that policy through the channels. Individuals can review it. They can make changes, make corrections, and it's a lot easier to manage it, all the way from the creation, all the way out to the individual employee receiving it. So that's just my take on it, but Chris can explain it a lot more because his accreditation is very detailed, and they have to have a lot of policies in place, and this is something that they're using that we can jump on board with.
So basically, the best part about this, you create a policy, and it starts from the creator. You push it out to those involved in the process. It shows their suggestions, their edits, their changes, and it creates a workflow. It can be used on mobile devices. It can be used on iPads. It can be used on pretty much anything. So it's available to you to approve, make changes, make edits to, and then you can produce that workflow for how your policy was created. So that's one of the best parts about it. Then also the other thing is you can pass these policies around, store them electronically. You can send them out to the actual employees to review on their phone, on their computer at work. You get actually the track where they logged in, where they read the policy, where they agreed to it. But the other part is you can also use the training side of it, where you can train on the policies and have record and retention of that record, where this person answered 9 out of 10 questions correctly on that policy. So if they violate it with a score like that, you obviously know they knew what was going on in the policy, knew how to handle themselves, and just chose not to or failed to follow the policy. So it gives you all the tools you need for training your folks, disciplining your folks, and evaluating your folks' performance and keeping and maintaining that certification once you get it.
And for the fiscal court, my office is directed, actually I am directed to carry out the fiscal court policies. We don't have anything like this, so this will be great for the fiscal court as we put policies in place. That will be pushed out and approved by the fiscal court so that I can carry those policies out. Without that, I think that's basically setting the precedents of not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And if I'm supposed to be carrying out policies and we don't have any, then that causes problems for me. So the quote, the way I understand it is as more, what was it called? Not quantities, but
I've lost track of
User.
it. User. The
yeah,
user.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we
it's
benefit.
subscription-based, so the more users that you have subscribed to it, it's tiered. So the more people that are on it, the cheaper that it is.
Yeah, and Eddie, I know you're listening in. I know you're looking at accreditation as well, but this might be something that you would be interested in. I don't know if you use something like this, but
Is this the PMAM, Chris?
The what?
the PMAM.
Is this PMAM?
No, it's Power DMS. It's the one that's more geared. It does. You can get the KACP standards, but it's also geared toward CALIA. So it handles both. But no, it's not the. I know what you're talking about. That's the one that KACP is partnered with, and that's kind of what they push when they do it. This one will do both, but it's a little bit more robust, better as far as pushing things out. It's got a training university in it where you can actually train on the policies. You can produce tests, you can produce videos, PowerPoint slides, those kind of things out, and push those out for your folks to review on online.
Yeah, I mean, this next year we was gonna look at PMAM, but if this does the same thing.
But the
that
good
would be
news about
a
this
benefit
is
to
we
us.
have it, so it would only be user cost to you.
That's what I was talking about, Eddie.
You wouldn't have to purchase the database. I have it. You would just purchase the number of users that you have, and we can
Right.
segregate it out under groups. So we'd have sheriff group, fiscal court group, 911 group. You put your policies in there, and you can push the policies out to the folks that need them. So you
More
wouldn't have to pay
agencies
for the
that use 'em.
database, just the users.
And just to make sure the more that use it, the cheaper the
Cheaper
cost.
it gets you. Yeah, currently with my 20 folks that are on, I'm paying $15 a piece. You hit the next tier, it drops down to like $12.50. The next tier, it drops down to $10. And I think after 160, it stops, I think, at $10 a person, so.
So it's it's actually something that's needed. The opportunity for multiple entities, like we've just discussed, the fiscal court, the sheriff, I knew you guys were looking for accreditation too, to jump on board. They're already using it for their accreditation, but we would just need the fiscal court to approve to go in to use this particular policy management software.
Judge, before the vote's taken or whatever, I think after each vote, state clearly what the vote was for the record, in case the audible doesn't come through.
Okay.
So what is the cost on this?
You get the,
My total cost for my users and the database and everything was $5,465.
did you hear that?
The database is already paid for,
5465.
$5,465. That's already taken care of. So the only cost to the fiscal court, the only cost to Eddie would be the number of users times whatever they quote us for the tier that we fall in. So if we stay at $15 a piece like I'm paying for them now, it would be the number of users times $15. The database is already there. We got it already.
So
this
the
is the cheapest
5,400's
way to
already
do it.
been paid?
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I've already got it.
Did you have a question, Kevin?
So it's a pay-as-you-go type of a system, do I understand that correctly?
Yes, it's a subscription system. So there's a database cost and a user cost.
I cannot understand what Chris is saying. I'm not sure if anybody else can or if it's just me.
Can you hear me? Is that
Can
better?
you hear him?
Hello? Can you hear me?
It's very echoey.
Yeah, it's an echo, but you can't understand. I
Let me
don't know if
move
you
back.
Okay.
Is that better?
talk slower, if it would help or not, but I cannot understand what Chris is saying.
It's a subscription based, it would be a subscription based service. He's already got it for the fiscal court, and if Eddie wants to use it, we would have to pay our portion to get our however many people we want on it. So right now, the quote that he got was, what was it per?
It was for the university, for the storage, the everything, and 20 users was $5,465 for me.
Yeah,
The only thing the court and Eddie would have to pay for is the number of users they have.
yeah,
So if the quote is, for me, was $15 a user.
yeah.
So if it stays at $15 a user, that's your worst case scenario. So however many users we have times 15, that's the cost
Yeah. Did you
for
hear
that
that?
agency. But it
$15
should
a year,
tier
or
down.
$15 a month?
Do what?
$15 a year or $15 a month?
Year.
A year.
So you're talking $475 for a year for our guys.
Based off of how many you need.
Yeah.
Based off 45 users at $15, I think is $475.
Yep.
Yeah.
But as we go together and pull our users, that price should come down because we should hit another tier. So it'd
Yeah,
probably be
so-
$12.50 or ish or so a user if we hit that magic number, and I don't know what that number is. They didn't quote it to me.
The benefit, Eddie, is as we work together, because you've got 45 users, we're going to have probably the largest users minus the 911. That $15 is going to go down.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So Chris, you've already paid the $5,465 out of your budget, correct?
Yep, we saved and used monies out of our budget that we saved, so we've got it. And the only thing it would cost to you all is for users.
Would this be an ongoing obligation, like a contract that we would be under, or would it be, we can cancel any time type
You
of a deal?
you pay for the year, and then you get in the next year's subscription. So each year you can cancel.
You pay for a subscription, Jason, each year?
So it's year by year,
Yep.
Correct.
okay.
And the same would apply to your office as well, if your office needs something like that. And we really haven't even touched some of the other county agencies that may want to get involved in this too. When it comes to policies within those agencies, if they don't have them, then they need to have them. So this might benefit more agencies than the ones that we're talking about today. But if the court wants to move on that policy management system, we would just need an action on that.
So that would have to be for all employees, correct? And that'll be times the amount of employees that we're looking at, basically $15 a month. It would have to include everybody, correct?
$15 a year.
$15 a year. But it would be all, for the fiscal court, it would be for all the employees that would fall under those policies, but it would be $15 a year.
Okay. So $15 a year times the number of employees we have.
Correct.
Okay. So what is that number? What are we looking at dollar-wise?
What we got, roughly 170.
Yeah, but 170 won't use it. I'd say,
What percentage would use it?
I'd say, well, even if you did 170 times 15, that's $2,550 per year. So maximum, you're not looking at over $2,500 for the whole year.
Yeah. So did you hear that, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
So maximum, if we did have all employees, $2,500 for the year.
And it will be cheaper than that because.
Are we
It- it'll be-
included in that?
Yeah, that's, 170, can you hear me? Okay. 170 is, total number of employees, but, and that includes you all. But even at there, I can anticipate probably at least 30 or 40 not using it. So, you're probably talking less than $2,500 a year.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just asking, will the commissioners have access to that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the fiscal
Is that what you're
court.
saying? Okay.
Yeah, and I think for even like our administrative code, we can probably put some of those things on there. Like Chris was talking about, it'll give employees access to tests, or I guess you would call them more, not evaluations, but an opportunity to go in to make sure that they did read the policy.
Yes.
And then we can document that and put that in the personnel file. So it's definitely a benefit for things that I do as well.
Absolutely.
Will that come out of each department's budget, or how would that be paid?
I think probably it'd be easiest, we've got a software development line item, instead of splitting it out between each department and trying to basically itemize an invoice depending on how many users are each one. I think it would be, I think it'd be easier just to put it into our software development line item.
Gotcha.
So if we want to move on that, which I think it is a good deal for all of us, all the agencies, to actually have something like that when you put your policies out, because I know some of the agencies are dealing with policies. I know like the sheriff's office, they deal with policies. I know our HR deals with a lot of
Yeah,
especially
nobody's
with
talking right now, so I do think this is a good idea, because this is something we were gonna have to look at anyway as an individual department. To be able to put it under one umbrella of the fiscal court, I think is a good idea.
And with that, if there's no other questions, we just need an action to accept what's the actual name so that we get I got policy names.
Power DMS.
Power DMS.
Yep.
Move that we accept.
Is there a second?
I can't hear him.
There was a motion, Justin made a motion.
Oh, okay. Second.
What was the motion? Because I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Motion was to accept the agreement with Power DMS.
Brad, you're cutting in and out.
The motion was to.
I think he just stopped talking.
Okay.
The motion, there was a motion to accept Power DMS for policy management system.
Okay.
Is there a second? Okay, so Monty's second.
I second it.
Sorry.
If that's what y'all are waiting on.
Yep, sorry. There is a
Can't hear.
second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Next is the bid advertisement for Southwest One. BFW, we did a proposal, or they gave us a proposal. We approved it. The the bidding process they are handling. We just had a phone conference with them earlier this week. We are ready to go into the bid advertisement portion of that. It just needs fiscal court's approval for the bid advertisement. And that's going to be for the construction of the turn lane and the boulevard at Southwest One. Has anybody got any questions on that? There's no questions. We just need to give approval so that BFW can move on the bid advertisement.
So moved.
There a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item 4 is the multi-facility or multi-purpose building changes. This is a change order.
Judge, I can't hear you very good at all.
Brad, somehow we've got to get where we can hear Judge better.
Okay, hang on. I'll have to put it closer.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We're on item 4, the multi-purpose building change order. You should have.
Much better.
You should have a copy of it. I think it was emailed to everybody. Is that correct? It's on the drive, but I'll just go down this list. Item 1, add a card reader in door 015. Item 2, remove wall between 103 and 106 to enlarge the office area and soundproof walls and ceiling with insulation. Remove door 020 and possibly reuse where shown on drawing. Also add card reader to this door. Raise height of ceiling of enlarged office to 10 feet. Item 5 is add ice maker box in wall where shown on attached drawing. The key for that is actually what we're dealing with right now. If we have an emergency situation where they have to shelter in place, they are capable to shelter in place, and that was one thing that you just don't think about that when you got people that are actually pulling 7 days on, 7 days off, staying in a facility like that. So those are the changes. It's got the dollar amount out beside each one. Item 1, $3,775.58. Item 2, $1,846.82. Item 3, $4,075.88. Item 4, $1,256.30. And then item 5 is $1,138.56. So that's the change order. Has anybody got any questions on that? And you should have a drawing that goes with it. If there's no questions, then we would need an action on the approval of the change order.
Motion to approve the changes to multipurpose building.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, Treasurer's Office.
Judge,
Yeah,
Judge, while we're on that,
yeah.
can I ask a question? I think we approved that contract extension, but it was only through March 31st, I thought. Have they come back to us for another extension yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay, wasn't it March 31st that we?
I don't think, yeah.
Remember, because they asked for more time and we cut it down to
It
March
was,
31st, I thought, but I may be wrong about that.
I'd have to.
I think they asked for 90 days and we cut it to 52. I don't know why that's popping up in my head, but,
When we voted on that, that was pre-COVID-19 too. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was anything.
I can reach out to Quentin to see if we'll pull up on our records. We can get that information. Corey's gonna pull it up.
I just want to make sure, I just remember the engineer, I was thinking that we did it through March 31st, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, the map that they had, as far as the timeline in our meeting that we had, I don't know why I'm thinking it had May on, we had some May dates on there.
Well, I
so-
think they were requesting the May, and I think we cut it back to March, but I might be wrong about that.
Yeah.
I have March and May, just something to look at.
No, it's a good question. We'll have her, she can pull that up, and we'll take a look at that. Because with the COVID, we may have to, look at extending it a little bit further. Item 5, Treasurer's Office, the occupational tax, position. Do you want to talk about that, Erica?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Can you hear Erica?
Not really.
Okay. You're getting your workout.
Sorry, my stuff's all in the way. Hello. Okay, so as you guys know, we've operated in the treasurer's office since the beginning of the fiscal year, one full-time position down. And how we've done that is with the help of Brad, kind of taking on some treasurer office duties sweetly. So since the beginning of the year, calendar year, so since about January, the work that involves the occupational tax has become increasingly more time consuming and energy consuming, just because of the flow of how occupational tax works. So we're at the point where we need to decide if we're going to fill that position or not. So Desiree and I would like to take over the duties jointly, and separate the budgeted pay for that position between the two of us. So I've given you guys a document of how I kind of envision dividing that up. And that would save, on the document I sent you, it showed savings for the budget overall of about $19,000 to the county. And that's really conservative. That's if we were, if you're comparing it to hiring a full-time position that had single benefits. So it would be closer to 25 or 26,000 if you hired somebody who had, say, family benefits, because a lot of the savings there is from our fringe benefits that we're not going to have to pay an additional person. On that document, I've also included that I wanted to change Desiree's position title to assistant treasurer, just kind of to tell you everything that went along with how I kind of came up with that information. And then our part-time secretary, she has traditionally, her budget has been divided between the treasurer's office and the judge's office, because that position used to do a lot of work between both offices, and it's more part of how we're covering all the duties. The judge is really not getting a lot of work out of that position anymore, so I'd like to move it completely over to the treasurer's office. I felt that was more fair to the judge's budget. And then also on there, I wanted to compensate Brad for the work that he has done, not to go into the next fiscal year. So just for the paychecks he has left between now and the end of the fiscal year. And so that's kind of an overview of everything that's on that document.
And back when,
Cleared that through the, auditor's office as to do it going forward, right?
Okay, so so part of what's in that document is that the division of pay between Desiree and I for absorbing that position, we want to make it retroactive to January. So although that doesn't encompass the whole time that we've been doing the work, we won't be crossing over calendar years, and so we won't be messing with any federal taxes, W-2 information. So, the auditor stated that just like how we have a catch-up pay for elected officials when there's a little lag between the beginning of the fiscal year, or beginning of the calendar year, and when the state gives us your all's pay differences for the year, there's usually a little catch-up amount. So as long as it's extending forward, they're okay with that. It's like a catch-up pay. However, we can't do a lump sum payment. And that's why whenever I said I would like to seek compensation for Brad for the work that he has done, it would need to be from this point to the end of the fiscal year. You know, I won't bring that into the next fiscal year because he will no longer be helping. You know, he's kind of stepped back. But anyway, that's to avoid that. We don't make any lump sum payment to him. Since he won't be continuing, it won't be a continuation of his pay in the future. And of course, I'm sorry, I meant to say, when I was talking about dividing up what's in the budget, a portion of it between Desiree and I, we want to keep it as a premium, and that way, if there's ever a reason why you guys want to go back to 3 full-time positions, you can easily do that, and it won't be muddled with a treasurer or assistant treasurer pay. It will still be a separate pay premium associated completely with occupational tax. And that way, if you want to fill the position in the future, it's easily removed from our pay codes and put back to a separate occupational tax pay code.
That was a long way of saying, yes, the auditor has given an approval on that. Am I understanding that correctly?
yes.
I gave you the information in the same way that they gave it to us, and I think that the reason they gave it to us that way is because until, you know, I assume they can't give an opinion on something they haven't actually seen happen yet, but they gave us in general what would be okay and not okay.
Okay, because my concern was, like you said, there couldn't be a lump sum. I knew that they would lose their, you know what, if we did that.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure that we had at least consulted the state auditor's office.
Yes.
And back,
With considering the savings, to the county of somewhere between 19,000 to 25,000, and considering you've been doing the work currently, as well as it's going to be a premium, I move to approve it.
is there a second?
Second that motion.
Hang on, let me put the paper back in front of you all so that the action.
So there's a motion and a second, and that's what the treasurer presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 I got a question. Did we get anything in writing from the auditor on that?
I think it was an email, or was it a phone call? It was a phone call, which is common. I mean, she calls up, or there's times where even I call the auditor's office and they give advice. And she spoke to 2 separate state auditors and got the same opinion. So there's,
Just to clear the record, this is not going forward. This just deals with this
the current fiscal year.
current fiscal year.
Yeah. There was a motion and a second. There were 3 ayes. Kevin, I didn't know if you had an aye, but are there any nays?
No.
Okay.
Vote
Motion.
no on that?
Okay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We'll go to item 6, payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
There's a motion. There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries.
From that
3rd.
date?
Yeah, from that date. Yeah. So, hey, Monty, the question that you had with the extension, December 3rd, we voted on that for 90 days, and that would have put us at the end of March. So I'll reach out to Quentin. Let's see, we've got the change order, and since this is not really on the agenda, we can put it on the next agenda. If the court wants to extend that because of the COVID, I think that's something that we can do.
Does he have to send it through, the engineer first? Because didn't the engineer, he's the one who put the proposal, so he needs to send it to him and then the engineer send it to us, or do?
Well, and this might be a question for you, Jason. The original request was for longer. It was recommended by the engineers or the RBS to, I forget, I don't know why I'm thinking 45 days or 52 days, but we can either use that original one or I can reach out to them and they can submit it back through RBS and we can do another one.
I just remember that when we talked about this, I think it was in February, is that right? This was way before anything related to COVID-19 had come up, so I don't know if there's anything that's come up on their end that has caused them any problems. I'm guessing it's probably not been smooth sailing for them. So
I know there was some
we
weather.
probably do need to touch base with the engineers and get those two together.
Okay. I know there was some weather related issues. As far as I know, when we went out there to look at the site, it was still wet and digging was an issue. But I'll reach back out to Quentin and see about getting that submitted back through RBS so we can have it for the 21st.
That'd be fine.
So it moved the completion date from 2/17 to 5/17.
Okay.
Days from the day we voted, it was a 90-day extension on the completion date.
Okay, so okay. All right, scratch all that. Yeah, it was a 90-day extension from the completion date, so it put it into May. And I thought that the calendar that they presented to us in that meeting, it had a May date on it. So May 17th is the completion date. I'll still reach out to them to see if they've got issues, and if we need to adjust, I can bring that to the next meeting. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we need to go in executive session for litigation.
Motion to go into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we're back. We'll call court back to order. All we need is a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.